Welcome. Every day is a new day for a new beginning. I am your host, Betsy Carolina. Today we have a very special guest, Stacey Mood. Stacey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here and for your willingness to share your story with us. It's a story that we wish we will never have to tell. But you have had a great loss in your life recently. Last year, in March, you lost your sister to suicide.
Yes.
And you're here today to share that story. There's a lot of taboos, a lot of myths around it, and you're here because you like to share your story. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I come from a really, really big family, and myself, I'm a single mom to an amazing little boy, and in my family we work really hard and we're all really close, a very big mixed family. So losing someone or not, basically having them fall through your fingertips is absolutely devastating because we're all so close and knit together. I'm a nurse, I'm a new graduated nurse, and I just have a new mission in my life since I lost my sister. So
you have many siblings.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have six?
Yes, I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers.
2 brothers. And Cassie is the sister that you lost last year.
Yes.
And Cassie was your younger sister that lived with you.
Yeah, so she was my closest sister. She was like my baby.
Sister, your baby. And you lived with your brother and your stepfather.
Yes.
And your son. And so how was your relationship with Cassie?
Cassie was always my best friend. Growing up, there was a big age difference. She's about 9 years younger than me. So, something that I have to live with is during the most important years, her teenage years, I wasn't around as much. However, when we lived together, we became extremely close, and I was like a second mom to her. So we did everything together. I was able, tell her all of my secrets, and we talked about everything under the sun. And she just, even though she was younger, she showed me so much about life. She was so wise beyond her years. She's my best friend.
And how old was Cassie?
When she passed?
When she passed.
She was 21.
21.
A month, she had just turned 21 years old, a month before she passed to the day.
How's Cassie? Can you give us a glimpse of what her life was like? What do you remember the most about her?
She is just a ray of sunshine. If you think about the sunshine and feeling the warm sun on your skin, that's literally what it felt like to know her. She was a hippie. She wore like organic clothing, and she was vegan, and she was just very crunchy, very quiet, very, very private, quiet, and just the most generous, selfless person I've ever met in my life. She was the epitome of love. Like when you read Corinthians, like love is patient, love is kind. If I plug her name in there, it's her. She's love.
Okay, and I see you're teary-eyed already, just thinking about her. And but I can also see the happiness that thinking about her brings to your life and to you. And I know this is hard, and I want people at home to understand how raw the pain is and how deeply it's felt. It's been recent, March of last year, and there's still a lot of emotions that you and your family are still going through, yet you have made it, like you said, your mission to share your story and not to wait, because you want to be able to hopefully reach out to someone who might be in the same position. But we had a chance to speak earlier, and you said that you're totally ready and comfortable with sharing your story and what happened that day. But I wanted to get to know Cassie through you, because sometimes we we have the idea that someone who is suffering to the point where they feel the only way out is to take their life is someone that we know and we can see the signs. And that's not always the case. We see the case of, you know, very famous people, right? Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, to name Robin Williams, and people who seem to have it all, and yet they're suffering inside. So as far as, you know, as far as you can go back and think about your sister, were there any signs that you could tell now looking back that, you know, were a tell sign that she was in distress, that she was in trouble?
You know, the other day I was going through her pictures, and I noticed that I don't have many pictures with her smiling. Like, she had such a beautiful smile. She had perfectly white, beautiful, straight teeth. But I noticed that in her picture, she never smiled, even when she was really little. Thank you. I didn't see many signs with her in her childhood, other than she was quiet. I know she was bullied in school. You know, middle school and the beginning of high school, she was bullied, and that took a big toll on her.
What do you know the reasons why she was bullied in school? I mean, not that there needs to be
different.
A reason, but
she was the person that wanted to do, you know, and believe it what she wanted to believe. You know, she had dreadlocks. She was, like I said, she was a hippie, and you know, the way she dressed, the way she acted, because she was very quiet. Her appearance. I mean, being a minority where you live, you know, it's not always easy, and I know she had to kind of work through that as well. Her skin was a little bit darker. And
did she ever talk, or did you as a family talk about the bullying that was happening to her? Did she ever complain? You told me she was not a complainer at all.
She didn't like talking about anything. I knew she was getting bullied because she would tell me like little bits and pieces, but she never wanted anybody to worry about her. So she just, if you asked her anything, she would say, no, it's okay, everything's fine, don't worry about me. So it's like she internalized everything her whole life. But then looking at her and the way she kind of held herself together, you'd never know the actual battle that was going on, because it wasn't outside.
And you also mentioned that at some point she found herself in an abusive relationship.
Yes. She was in this relationship for a few years, and this was her, you know, first real relationship. And toward the end of her life, she had confided in me things that I had no idea was going on, because she was so wrapped up in this relationship. She would be up at all hours of the night waiting for this person to call, and it's like he had this grip on her. And I remember thinking, oh my God, if they ever broke up, that's like, I know that's it. It's, you know, he was very controlling and knew exactly how to keep her the way he would need her. So, you know, over those years, she lost herself. She started slowly not becoming the Cassie that I knew, but, you know, I always thought she'll be okay. Like, this is just how it is. Like, she's just having a bad week. And
did you have a conversation with her? Did you ask her questions? Did you ever, or did she ever talk about suicide, about taking her own life? We were so close that we did talk about things like that. You know, if anything happened and I died, or if I, you know, anything happened, we talked about how we would want to die, or, you know, how life would be after. She did open up to me a little bit. I wish it had been more, because I feel like I would have intervened a little bit more. I would have taken it more seriously. Can you elaborate a little bit? Like, give me an example of
it. You know, if she had a fight with the boyfriend at the time, before she had passed away, the previous boyfriend, you know, she just didn't want to deal with it anymore. She's just said, I'm done. And I really, really found out what was going on with her and how bad it was after she had passed, I had gone through her journals, which I'm the only one that has them, and I keep them hidden away, and I was just mind blown.
So after, but prior to what happened, there was no indication to you that that this was a serious threat for her, that she would actually follow through with.
No, I never thought she was actually going to do it.
Okay.
Like we had talked about it. Like if I was in a really dark place, she knew, and she was able to pull me out. And when she was in a dark place, it's like I knew it, but I always thought she was going to be okay. So
for some reason, she was able to end this abusive relationship, and then she found someone who really cared for her and made a difference in her life.
Yeah, and when she had ended that abusive relationship, she looked like she handled it well. I had no idea how, like I said, what was going on. And she met this great guy months later. His name is Adam, and I will never, forget the excitement and just her being overwhelmed by his kindness and his love. She was like, he got me flowers. I don't know what to do. He got me a teddy bear for Valentine's Day. Oh my God, he cooked me dinner. Like she felt almost like she didn't deserve it. So I'm so glad that before we lost her, that she was able to experience what I wish she had experienced that whole time.
Was she under any medication? Was she using any substances that you knew of at the time?
At the time, no. I had no idea of anything in the things you find out after. No, no idea beforehand. But I did find out after the fact, that she had been using this. It's called Dust Off. It's a computer dust cleaner, and kids as young as 8 years old start using it to get high. It doesn't show up on a drug test. It's just very potent, fast, fast-paced high that people get, and it's so easily accessible. Unfortunately, you can go anywhere and just buy it, and nobody will ask you any questions.
That's very unfortunate. So this is Dust Off. And, parents who are watching this and we don't know, this is something that we should look into it. Our kids, it's something that we have at home to clean our computers, or like you said, the kids can go to Staples. There's no ID, nothing required for people to buy.
They can go in a cabinet.
And kids are getting high off of this. So it's very, it's a serious stuff. So.
And Stacey, it's easy to hide.
Easy to hide, yes. Because did you see any symptoms when she was high? Did you know? You mentioned that now you understand it because you did some research. But she started looking a little.
Yeah. After the fact, I researched what it's like when someone's using that, and she would tell me a few weeks ahead of time, and I thought it was bizarre. She's like, I keep falling off my bed. So I didn't know that she was getting high. She would be in her bed, like upstairs in her room, or whatever it was, and she said, my tongue keeps getting numb. And I'm like, your tongue's getting numb? That's so weird. Why would your tongue be getting numb? Or, she was, like I said, she was falling off her bed, or she had just this really bad cough, and her skin was changing. It's like, she almost had like a gray skin tone to her, like she wasn't getting enough oxygen just throughout the day in general. So her, her eyes were sunken in. She looked almost as if someone was like dehydrated, but a little bit kind of grayish.
Were you concerned at any point that you asked if she was all right, and what did she say?
I mean, I would ask, and then as far as with her appearance changing, what I thought in my head was, well, she did go through that really bad breakup, like she's just really depressed because it was so fresh. So I assumed that that's what it was. And I was like, she has this great guy, like things are going well for her. Which
goes to show, again, that it's a lot deeper than what you can see on the surface. Yeah. Again, mentioning all these famous people and people who we think have it all and have, their lives together and everything under control. It's so easy for someone that's suffering from mental health to mask the symptoms and to hide it from their loved ones. Now, I'd like to ask you, can you walk us through like the night before or the day before this happened, what was the last time that you saw your sister, that you spoke with her?
Yeah. So I was the last person to actually see my sister alive. The night before she passed away, she went to work, just had a regular day. She worked at a gym. She loved her job. And I was in school. And I came home and I was at the gym working out, studying. And I remember I just had this bad, I saw someone at the gym I didn't want to see, so I was frustrated. So all I could think about was my frustration. I got home and she was home, and I didn't know she was home until she came downstairs. And when she came down the stairs, she went right into the bathroom. And I was washing the dishes and I was like, oh, it's weird. Usually she says hi to me. And she just rushed in the bathroom. She was in there for a really long time. So I didn't really think anything of it, and I was cleaning, and she came out of the bathroom, and she's kind of like leaning against the doorway, and I'm asking her, you know, how was your day? And she's like, oh, it was fine. And I was like, oh, you'll never guess what happened. So I was just so focused on, you know, what I had going on instead of asking her more questions. So we talked for a very short time, and then when she went to go upstairs, I stopped her and I was like, you know, are you okay? You don't look well. You look kind of funny. And she's like, oh, I'm okay. I said, are you sure? You don't look well. And she's like, oh, I'm just really tired. I'm going to go upstairs and sleep. That was the last time I saw her alive.
So did you ever imagine that would be the last time?
No, absolutely not. No, that was our routine was Thursdays. This was a Thursday night before she passed away. Friday morning, she would, you know, babysit for me while I would go to work. So that was just kind of our thing. So I had no idea what I was going to be waking up to.
So you wake up the next morning, and you said that you had to go up to her room to get her, or would she usually come down?
Yeah, she would come down. I remember I texted her at 10 o'clock that night, and I was like, hey, don't forget you're babysitting. And she didn't respond, and I thought she was sleeping. It was 6:45, and I had to go to work. And I got ready, and I'm like, where is she? So usually I'll send my son upstairs to wake her up, but this morning, thank God, he was asleep. So I went upstairs to go wake her up, and you know, when I opened her door, she wasn't on her bed. So then I got mad because I thought she like slept at her boyfriend's house and forgot. And then it wasn't until I turned and and I saw her on the ground sleeping, and I was like, all I can think was, wow, I wonder if she had a few drinks. What a weird position to fall asleep in. Like maybe she got drunk and fell asleep. I mean, it's not like her, but weird. But when I realized that her stomach was not moving and that she wasn't breathing, that's when, you know, I went up to her body and realized that, you know, she wasn't alive anymore.
And you just knew this because she looked different. You, at this point, you still hadn't completed your nursing school, so you're not trained yet.
I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even this is gonna sound weird, but if she was still warm to the touch, I would have done compressions or something, like kicked into medical mode. But it's like when I saw her, I just shut off and went into survival. I knew.
You knew.
And I went into survival mode, and I was like, okay. I didn't scream. I said, okay, she did it. Okay. I'm gonna take care of this. It's like I was saying out loud. I was like, okay. And then, you know, I turned around and my son was standing at her doorway. I didn't know he heard me go upstairs. He heard me go upstairs, and when I found her, I didn't want to yell and wake my family up. I wanted to just go downstairs and tell them because everyone was asleep. And when I turned around and saw my son, I didn't want to react, and I said, oh, let's go downstairs. And he looked at me, he goes, Mommy, is Titi dead? And he had just turned 5 years old, so I'm like, I don't know what he saw. I don't know how he would know to think that, but he probably saw my reaction when I, you know, kind of tried to see what was going on. I couldn't see her face, so I had to move her around a little bit, and, you know, and I said, yeah, you know, baby, I think so. I said, I think so. I didn't want to lie to him, but then what do you tell a child?
It's hard to react, like no one knows. We're not trained to, you know, like this is something that is taking you completely by surprise.
Yeah.
You have it is something that those people, I unfortunately had to experience finding my husband dead when, he passed away from a heart attack, my first husband. And when I came home, I found him, dead. And I know what it's like, and everyone reacts in a different way. In my case, I was so scared to think that it was true, that it was happening. Yeah. I knew it, and I just remember calling 911, but I didn't want to touch him. Yeah. They kept asking me, is he breathing? Can you check on him? Can you check a pulse? And I remember saying, I can't move. I just can't move. My legs won't move. And I don't think so. The ambulance got there really quick, but in your case, you had a different reaction, and you were there and you were concerned about. In my case, I had my son with me as well, and I sent him upstairs, to the neighbor's house, and I got to call 911. In your case, you were concerned because your stepfather was there, and you had to break the news immediately to them.
Yeah.
So you took care of your son, and then what happened?
That was, that was it. I brought him downstairs. I put him in his room, and all I remember, it was almost like a sixth sense. It was really bizarre. My stepdad came out of his room, and he said, "What is it?" And his arms were open. He said, "What is it?" So I don't know if he heard me say Cassie when I was trying to wake her up, or whatever it was, and all I could do was look at him, and I said, Cassie's dead. I said, I will take care of this. Let me take care of it. I'll call 911. I said, go upstairs. Just go upstairs. I wish I didn't send him up there, but I wasn't thinking.
But your stepdad, it's also a first responder. He was. So what happened when you called 911?
I called 911, and they showed up within minutes. They showed up right away. And, a lot of the people that showed up at my house, they knew my family, so that was kind of difficult as well, because it really hits home times 10, because these are people that you see, whether it's at one of our jobs or people that know our family. So that was hard for us, and I know it was hard for my stepdad to have his co-workers come to our house and see what our family was dealing with that morning. But you know what? I just remembered this. Something I will never forget is all of the fire stations in Lowell, one by one, they all showed up to our house. A lot of that time's a blur, but the amount of love and support that we got that morning, it was like one fire truck would come, they would come in, spend some time with my family, give condolences to my stepdad, and then the next group of firemen would come, and then the next group of police officers, and just the support that we had was just, the community coming together was amazing. I just remembered that. Yeah. So I'm grateful for the, just the little firefighters and the police officers and the paramedics and the EMTs and everybody that they showed up.
It's amazing. There's a lot of talk about honoring the first responders and what they do. And here you are telling the story of your own family, where they are there paying respect to one of their own who've lost someone so tragically. Yeah. And, there's no questions. It's just their support. So, it's amazing. They are the real heroes. And I can't imagine. You also said to me that when you found your sister, you had no idea, but at the same time you knew what had happened. And so I asked the question, so was it ruled an overdose? Was it ruled a suicide? And you gave me a little more details about the condition that you found her.
Yeah.
And that there was some stuff in the room. Do you mind elaborating about that? And if you don't feel comfortable, it's okay.
I can talk a little bit about it. So when, they have to do an investigation, so when the detectives came and they said, has she ever had any suicidal ideations? Because when I first saw her, I didn't even think, I don't know what it was. I'm like, suicide? I had no idea that there was that dust off was even part of the picture till after. Because it was all over the room, but I didn't see it. I was so focused on her. But, you know, she asked, did she have suicidal ideations? And I said, yes. And all I could say was, yeah, of course. Like, I can't believe it happened. Like, this, it wasn't supposed to happen. It was not supposed to happen. And it did, and she did it. I couldn't believe it. As far as, you know, autopsy stuff and everything, that takes a really, really, really long time. I had written to the medical examiner's office to get more information as well, and they wouldn't give me the information because I wasn't next of kin, even though I'm the one who handled the financial and all that, you know, her stuff, I guess.
But when you found her, you told me so that there was evidence.
Yeah. So
all over the house. There was baking soda, or there was something else. And why do you think those? Describe the scene for us. So,
I mean, if someone is overdosing or whatever the case is, like, or if she was just trying to get high off of the can, she would have huffed the duster and lay down in bed and gone to sleep, or whatever the case. But when I found her, the way she was positioned and just the condition of her space, it was in shambles. And there was just baking soda everywhere in the bedroom, and we didn't know what it was at first, and then we found the baking soda. And knowing my sister, baking soda absorbs odor. And knowing her, she wouldn't want to leave a mess for anybody else to clean up, even though her room was crazy, and I don't know what happened that night upstairs. Knowing her, she wouldn't want to leave a mess. So, you know, as she was dying, she was cleaning her mess. And you know, when I found her, that stuff, that dust off, a lot of times when people huff, they will like vomit like an orange substance. So when I was cleaning, I found the orange substance, and it was there in front of her. So she had been trying to deodorize her room and clean as much as she could. She didn't want to be like a burden on anybody. That's how she just never wanted to be a burden.
In the following days, how did you manage to, when did it hit you finally, Stacey, that your sister was gone? It seemed like you were just on automatic, you know, you were just on survival mode, like you said, and you wanted you handled everything for your family. When did it hit you that she was gone?
It hit me that she was gone about 3 weeks after she passed. Because at that point, you know, family doesn't come over as much. They spend the days at your house and help out. But, you know, life kind of gets back to normal for people. And that was the longest I had gone without talking to her. Because every day we were talking to each other, talking about our day, sending each other funny pictures online. And I was like, my God, I'm waiting for her to message me. And that's when I realized she's never going to send me another meme. Like, she's never gonna tag me on something funny. And I'm going through my old posts, and I was like, that's when I stopped and I said, where is she? I said, God, where is she? Where do you have her? Where is she? You know, that's when the confusion started to hit, because I didn't feel it in the beginning. It was just, I wanted to take care of everyone and make sure everyone's eating and make sure everyone is safe and okay, and you know, planning her funeral and cleaning her room and just trying to get life in order so that everyone is good. And once they're good, I can't be good unless they're good.
What got you through those days? You told me you're a woman of faith. And once you realized that she was gone, you told me that you would go upstairs and pray in her room. How important was your faith?
That is what saved me, to be honest. Because at that time, I wanted to be with my sister. I know it sounds weird, but I wasn't used to not having her. And I said, wherever she is, I want to be there. But it wasn't my time. And that strength, like I remember my mom saying, Stacey, how are you doing this right now? Take some time. My family said, take some time, take care of yourself. I said, I can't. I have this strength. I said, I'm going to use it while I have it, because it's not mine, it's God. I said, God has completely taken over my brain right now, and he's keeping me focused to make, get us through this. Once this is done, then I can worry about myself and my stuff. And so
you have since then, you told me that the following days you had already applied for nursing school, and we only have a little bit of time left, but I want to I want you to share with the audience how, you were able, even through your pain, you were able to make it through nursing school, graduate. You just graduated this year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you also have been very active. You took an active role in the community, advocating for suicide prevention, awareness. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing, what your plans are?
Absolutely.
And you even made some changes. You helped your school to make some changes because you were saying how we don't talk enough about awareness and prevention, and even the medical staff, like nursing students, don't even get the training. So you did something for your school. Talk about that.
I did. In the mental health section, of nursing school, we went over suicide very briefly. But there isn't enough information. We're not taught the signs. I'm going to fight for this and really get this out there. But what I was able to do was link up with AFSP, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, to come into our school and teach my class about suicide. And the money that's raised, that's what that's for. If you can reach out, they will do seminars at high schools, at school, at colleges, at your business, and just having them come in here was so eye-opening, because suicide is the second leading cause of death from 14 to 25 years old, but we don't even think about like the elderly population. Suicide affects everybody, and so I was able to link up with them so that they can keep going each year, and during their mental health unit are able to talk a little bit more about suicide and how it affects everybody. So I did that, and also I am working on starting a nonprofit called Kindness for Cassie. I've taken little steps, but I was in school, so I wasn't able to dive in. And Kindness for Cassie is just sharing her mission, which is
what was her mission?
It was just that every life matters. Every animal. I mean, this girl she would pick up an ant and walk it across the street if she could. Just, and if there's ever a woman that needs clothes, if there's ever a family that is hungry, if there is an animal shelter that needs donations, that's where her heart is. So Kindness for Cassie is going to be a resource for not just one thing, but everything that was important to her.
Excellent. Now, with the little bit of time that we have left, would you please look at the camera, and can you talk about a final message of what got you through, through this tragedy? How were you able to have this new beginning? Because you had to start, you were forced to start life before and after your sister. So you had a new beginning, and you had to reinvent your life.
Yeah.
And it seems like you're on your way there. For anyone that's thinking about suicide, or anyone that's facing or worried about someone in their family, what would you say? What can they do?
Don't be afraid to talk about it. Suicide is preventable, and a lot of times we don't know or think that someone's gonna follow through with it, but reach out. If someone tells you that they don't wanna live, don't ignore that. If anyone, ask if they have a plan, especially, because if someone opens up to you and they have already made a plan and they're able to talk to you about that, that's when you want to step in and physically be there. Just talk to people about it. Don't be afraid to bring it up. There's so much stigma behind it, but believe it or not, so many people are affected by suicide, and nobody talks about it, and it needs to be talked about. If you're concerned about anybody that you love or a friend, talk to them about it. Be there. Let's go get a cup of coffee. Let me link you up with some resources, and be there with them. It's so easy to say, reach out, call this person, or when you're in that state of mind, your physical presence is going to be what makes all of the difference.
Thank you, Stacey, for that. One final thought that you mentioned, that when people are in that state of mind, telling them not to do it, or telling them all the reasons why it's not going to work. You said, tell them the one reason why. Is that right?
It's not that I believe that telling people why not to do it isn't going to help. They need the reason to stay. Looking for when you're in that dark place, you need a reason to live. You need to remember your why. Remember the one reason why you need to stay here, why you're wanted, why you're loved. Remind people the impact that they have in your life. But it's not always don't do it or reach out. It's, you need that reason to live.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being so brave, for being here, sharing your story. I know you're still struggling with some of these feelings and trying to find a place, in your heart to move on every day. And we know grief comes in waves.
Yeah.
And, it's not that we have forgotten. It's just, we have to deal with stuff and find a new way to live our lives without our loved ones. So that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for watching our show. We are going to be putting up some resources that people can contact and help. If you feel like you don't know how to help someone, you feel like you don't know what to say, there are resources, there are professionals out there that can help you and will guide you, and that they're trained to help people find the help that they need. And remember, you must take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others. Mental health is a serious issue, and just like any other physical condition that we have, high blood pressure, cancer, diabetes, whatever it is, a broken bone, we go out there and we look for the help, the medical help that we need, the trained professionals. Mental health is no different. We need to start talking about these things. We need to start accepting people, loving people, and most of all, accepting the help because there's help out there. Thank you for watching us. God bless you.
What really helped me get through everything that happened was my faith in God, and leaving my faith and surrendering and leaving everything in His hands truly is what got me through everything. And faith is also a huge part of my life. I'm on the worship team at my church, and I'm going to be sharing with you a song that we started singing there around the time that my sister passed away. So the song is very near and dear to my heart, and it literally got me through that time. It gave me hope. It helped me to open my heart, and it helped me to remain kind through everything that was happening. So the first time I sang this song was a few weeks after my sister had passed away, and I remember being on stage at church and mascara flowing down my face, and I was just crying because I felt every single word. I felt it in my bones. And along with that, I also really from the bottom of my heart want to thank all of the first responders, everybody that was there for my family, firefighters, firemen, EMT, medics. Everybody just came together, and it means the absolute world to us. So we're just so grateful for the first responders. Everything that they go through every day, we go through it too. Suicide can affect anybody, and just the amount of love and support is unforgettable. We had hundreds and hundreds of people, like over 500 people had shown up to my sister's services, and I was mind blown because she's so quiet, and I knew that she had a small group of friends, but that just goes to show you how far kindness can get you. And it makes me sad that she didn't know while she was here the impact that she had on so many people's lives. I had so many people reach out to me. Your sister saved my life. Your sister was there for me when I was going through this, that, and the other. And all of these people sharing these beautiful stories. So she had no idea how loved she really was. And that's all because of the way that she loved everybody that she knew and the way that she showed kindness. So it's now my mission to share her mission and keep her memory alive. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Hey. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. Yeah, yeah. You've been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away.